everyone, today I want to give you some tips on solving past papers. So I had a 4 to 5 steps plan when it came to solving past papers. First, solve the paper, obviously. Second step is to correct it using the mark scheme. Third step is to check the grade boundary, have an idea how hard or easy was the exam. Fourth step, which is the most important one, is actually checking your mistakes and revising them. So get a notebook, whether a physical or digital one, get a notebook only for this. When you start solving past papers, you will find questions that are repeated a lot and they are worth 5 to 6 marks. So make sure you write those questions with their answers and make sure that you wrote the answers from the latest mark scheme. Because sometimes there are keywords that were accepted in 2010 but they're not accepted in 2020. So that's why you need to make sure you follow the latest mark scheme and write everything that will be accepted in your exam. Also, other types of questions that you need to write are the questions that you made mistakes in. Let's say you didn't write enough points for this question, or you didn't even know what was the idea in this question. Write it down with the answer. You would have a full notebook of questions that you need to revise before any mock exam or even before your actual exam. And don't forget to write some tips for yourself. So in chemistry, we had to draw a graph and I used to forget to write the negative numbers at the top. So I wrote them at the bottom instead, and that made me lose marks. Again, don't forget to actually write tips for yourself. This will be really helpful and it will prevent you from making mistakes in the future. While you're correcting your exam, try to use this method, marks method. I learned about it from Untitled channel, so I will put down the link for the YouTube video explaining it. It will help you figure out what areas do you need to work on. I'm gonna explain it briefly. M is for math error, A is for application, R is for reading, C is for communication, K is for knowledge, and S is for statements. Again, you're gonna learn about this method in details from the other videos, so don't forget to check it out. It helped me a lot while solving past papers. The fifth step you need to do while solving past papers is to check the examiner's effort. I think it's really important if you are studying for a subject that requires a lot of essays, like English language, for example. But for other subjects like biology and chemistry, I think it's kind of optional. Like if you have time, do it, but if you don't, it's fine, like you can skip it. But anyways, it's still great to know what does the examiner want, what are the common mistakes, so you'd avoid them.
So here's an overview. First we solve, correct using the mark scheme, check the grade boundary, revise our mistakes, and check the examiner's report.
Now, moving on to tips for people who get really nervous in the exam hall. I used to be like you and I tried to work on this. Remember, you're not only solving past papers to test your knowledge, you're trying to get used to the time, to the style of the questions. So the first thing you need to do is to find a quiet place. I know it might be a bit hard for people who live in a very crowded household, but just try to ask your family members or your roommates to tone it down a bit. If you have to, lock your room so no one would interrupt you. The second thing you need to do is to play ASMR videos for exam halls. They're really helpful. First, you're gonna be a bit worried and you're gonna get stressed, but by time you'll get used to it. Remove everything you have on your desk. In the exam hall, you won't have decorations here and there and so many pencils. The third thing, start a timer and make sure you have less time than the time provided in the exam. So for example, if the exam is 1 hour and 15 minutes, set a timer for 1 hour. So you would get used to solving everything on the exam in 1 hour and you would have 15 minutes extra to revise everything again. And you don't have to do this process every time you solve a past paper because you'll get bored. But it's good to practice 2 or 3 times a week. And I don't want to scare you or sound dramatic, but exams can really be stressful and it's good to just be prepared beforehand. I hope you found this video useful. If you want more study tips, there are 2 videos here, you can check them. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!